Impasse is about noticing the oncoming signs of depression, and rather than fighting them, you just ignore them and allow yourself to sink deeper into that depression. A lot of times I find myself further in depression only because it's almost comforting to fall into that pit, because that's something I know, rather than fighting to get better and feel that sense of normalcy and emotional stability. I remember going to the studio, Concrete Studios in New Orleans, to work with Jonathan DeLeese. At this point, I had been working with him for several years, and luckily I had the privilege of working with Cody Heyman from Youth Crash as well. He happened to be at the studio, and we happened to be good friends. So when I came in, he was more than happy to help co-write some of these lyrics. The first day, I remember going to the studio just completely unprepared. At that point, I was pretty deep in a bout of depression myself. When I got to the studio, I had literally no lyrics prepared, no melodies. I really had no idea what I wanted the song to be about. I just remember sitting there completely disassociated while Jonathan and Cody were throwing ideas at me and just trying to get anything to stick. I was just kind of so out of it and in my own world that we really didn't get anything done the first day. That night, I sat down and talked to Cody and just kind of opened up about some of the stuff that I was dealing with at that point. We actually started writing the song that night. I ended up getting the first verse basically completely written, as well as a good bit of the second verse. We went into the studio that next morning. We tracked the first verse. That first verse basically was the current state of mind at that time of recording. I really wanted to just put my current emotions at the time into that song, just so it could constantly be a reminder to myself to not allow myself to slip back into that state of mind. That second part of the first verse represents Cody and I's frustration with seeking help. A lot of the times in our experience, the help we've received has not been the help we were looking for. I think therapy's a great thing. I think you just gotta find the right therapist for you. And I think, unfortunately, Cody and I have had relatively negative experiences when it comes to therapy and actually seeking help. For the second verse, it was again just that current state of mind in that moment. Another warning to myself as well as to anybody else who may listen to the song. When you slip into those states of depression, it's amazing. At least for me, time seems to just fly by. I'll feel like I've wasted 3 days just laying down and doing nothing, and then it's actually been like 2 weeks. Lose contact with friends, I don't reach out, and before I know it, time slipped far, far further than I ever imagined it would. The chorus was actually the last part of the song that we wrote and recorded. I came back to the studio about 2 weeks after we had recorded the first verse and the second verse. We still really didn't have anything in mind for the chorus. We didn't have a melody, we didn't have words. We had tried a lot of things, and we had like a lot of plan Bs, a lot of kind of lackluster choruses, just stuff that didn't really fit the bill. And we just sat and listened to the chorus on loop. And I think it went like 5-6 times, and out of nowhere, that melody just popped in my head. It was kind of crazy. And I remember talking to Jonathan, telling him I thought I had something, and I remember singing that melody, and as soon as I sang it to him, he's like, hop in the booth, let's get a dry take, just so we don't forget it. It ended up sticking, which is pretty awesome, because I love that chorus. The melody and the words we wanted to write to really depict that desperation in depression. I know a lot of the times I feel depressed, or I'm in one of those cycles. I just long to feel better. I just long to feel normal again. And we wanted that chorus to represent that feeling. We finished the song by repeating the first part of the first verse, and that was to represent the cycle of depression. and how sometimes you can slip into it, get deep, and then slip right back out of it, and before you know it, you're slipping right back in. I wanted to write this song just to represent that feeling of oncoming depression, and let other people know who may be experiencing that they're not alone. And if you may be experiencing that cycle of depression, know you're not alone, and that we'll get through this together.